let's put the drama surrounding Don't Worry Darling aside, as hard as it may be, and take a second to just discuss how this movie attempts to mess with your brain and why the impact wasn't perhaps as intense as it could have been. In this video, we're going to talk about how people are worried that the screenplay did not learn from the movies the director cited as inspirations. Here's all you need to know about it. First off, the twist must be revealed early on, of course, as evidenced by The Matrix. In hindsight, one of the best decisions The Matrix made was making its protagonist learn about the simulated reality early on. That way, the film did not suffer under the build-up to this massive reveal, and the ideas and concepts explored in the movie were allowed to shine as well. One of the most important, popular, or significant moments from The Matrix is when Morpheus offers Neo the blue pill and the red pill, asking him to choose. If you somehow don't remember, one of the pills would send him into a deep sleep, rendering the world that they were in at the time a mere dream. The other pill, as we know, would take his feelings of doubt and confusion further, leading him to spiral endlessly and reveal the truth about the simulation. Now, this scene leads to the sequence where Neo first learns about the simulation. And while it has been criticized by some, dumping all of this lore on the viewer turned out to be the right decision, clearly giving The Matrix success years later. Point is, this info dump leads to the audience gaining insight at precisely the correct time. And that's where Don't Worry Darling really had us worried. From the trailers, it might have seemed like just another dystopian film, but in reality, there were so many open-ended questions that we're pretty sure we might need to take a break from everything. Moving on, let's take the example of The Truman Show. It is essential to dive into these successful movies and their tactics to figure out why Don't Worry Darling, with its compelling idea, was not executed to its proper potential. For The Matrix, it was revealing its twist early, so the audience gets the time to process it before the characters dive into the complexities of the notion of an unreal world. In The Truman Show, there's a similar concept at play here. Unlike the other movies mentioned in this video, it does not attempt to deceive the viewers. Now, anyone who's seen the trailer for Don't Worry Darling, or even read the controversial interviews, would know that the movie plays around with perception and reality a lot. So no one's going in blind here, but to take the example of The Truman Show yet again, it's strangely refreshing to be clued in on the fact that Truman is on a TV show. Then, information is slowly drizzled out in a manner that respects the audience's intelligence. And it's easy for this kind of format to go wrong, as we've seen happen since in other movies. No one's quite struck the right kind of balance in such a box office altering manner. So in a way, it prioritizes control over the audience's empathy over a faux sense of suspense. And it works for the movie. Up next, let's look at the setting. From the moment you first see the trailer of Don't Worry Darling, something unsettles you. That's on purpose. As viewers, we're meant to feel as though something's not quite right with this utopia and hope that eventually Alice, our protagonist, played by Florence Pugh, does as well. We've all seen the movie, we know the basics, and turns out Alice is not really living the life that she thinks that she is. In fact, there's a virtual reality twist. That's the thing about movies such as these. The protagonist has very little agency in the simulated world that they live in. And eventually, Alice finds out that she's in her worst nightmare, a working woman who was put in the project by her incel boyfriend. Coming up, what went wrong? The movie's ending has been criticized enough for the original script to have been leaked online, and Olivia Wilde, director and actor who allegedly made changes to the script, also talked about her inspirations. Two of the many inspirations that she cited as inspirations included The Matrix and The Truman Show. Both are 90s classics about a character discovering their life isn't what it seems and is either a simulation or carefully orchestrated TV program. A common theme in all of these movies is the exploration of complex concepts like free will, reality, and the meaning of life, each executed with varying levels of success. So it would be a simple decision to bunch Don't Worry Darling with them, and yet it's hard to justify that take, and that's because Don't Worry Darling failed to learn a very significant lesson from these films. Let's talk about Don't Worry Darling's approach to suspense. Florence Pugh has delivered a phenomenal performance with the content that she was given, which isn't surprising in the slightest. And every actor gave a somewhat decent performance with a script that had a lot of potential in most of its entirety. Yet, Don't Worry Darling suffers because it prioritizes suspense over the true message of the movie. 2/3 into the movie, Alice finally figures out that she is, in fact, not a housewife in the 50s, but a surgeon in the 21st century. She has been drugged and dragged into this project by her boyfriend who wants to control her. Now, we've all seen the movie and know the rigid gender norms of the 50s. The women manage the house while the men earn and manage the money. The unequal power dynamics and the rigidity of social norms is a concept that is very interesting no matter how many times it's been touched on before. The movie is, in part, a commentary on how some men still feel threatened when they don't receive a woman's undivided attention and idealize a time when social sanctions forced women into a subservient role. It also touches on the fact that while Jack, played by Harry Styles, absolutely does not enjoy being the sole provider in a dynamic such as this, he believes it to be his obligation thrust upon him by himself. But the problem is, none of these concepts gets the time to be explored in the kind of depth that they deserve. What's more, at the end of the day, the movie is a thriller, and it's committed seriously to that genre. Structured like a thriller and a mystery, audiences like us are made privy to strange occurrences and clues at the same time as Alice. Of course, this adds to the tension in the movie and, subsequently, its intensity as a mystery thriller. This makes us more focused on understanding what's happening, like Alice, instead of asking why it's happening to her. And when the truth is revealed, and this is a problem with the script, we're left with more questions that aren't answered comprehensively at all. The logistics don't add up. We're not given enough context about the project, about how things function or have been functioning in the real world in their absence. Now, of course, no movie should spell everything out for the viewers, but at the same time, leaving a lot of unanswered questions doesn't always work too well. The audience shouldn't be trying to make sense of the movie's logic 2/3 of the way in when there's a deeper meaning in the characters' complex challenges and their journey. Finally, it all boils down to elaboration. As we said, the movie truly suffers due to its staunch refusal to explain things better, or pace it right, to be honest. There's a lot of debate about just how much exposition is the right amount, and how it should be done. But amidst all of that, one thought remains true. It should be the right kind of exposition. The exposition should be perfectly proportioned. If there's too much of it, that runs the risk of making the audiences feel insulted, and if it's too little, the audience feels confused. There's a famous phrase about the pacing of movies that goes something like, starting a movie as late as possible and ending it as early as possible is the way to go. That rings true more often than not. But in a scenario where you have characters that are designed to be full of depth in a simulated world, then to be honest, exposition should be your best friend. Many movies don't require exposition, but those that do, like the 3 movies that we've talked about here, do so deliberately and carefully. Audiences that understand movies that deal with phenomena that are extraordinary need to be treated as such. Having Don't Worry Darling reveal the twist far too late and then half-ass the explanation for it to that extent did the movie no favors. And that's all for this video. Do you agree that the twist should have been revealed earlier? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by pressing the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.